We're joined now by Dave Naylor. And Dave, in a recent quarterback poll from ESPN, an NFL executive said that Bills quarterback Josh Allen was one of the most overrated players in the NFL. Of course, his GM, Brandon Beane, came to his defense saying there's idiots everywhere, right? So in the quarterback hierarchy, where would you say Josh Allen ranks at this moment?
I would put him right behind Patrick Mahomes. And I think the argument that he is overrated is preposterous. I mean, there are so many stats you can grab to illustrate the greatness of Josh Allen, to say nothing of the success the Bills have had with him. 4 straight first-place finishes in the AFC East. But here's some of my favorites. First NFL quarterback in history to have 40 touchdowns for 4 consecutive seasons. Josh Allen is 28 right now. He has the second most playoff touchdowns in NFL history for a player at 28, behind only Patrick Mahomes. And when you look at his 167 touchdown passes by age 28, that's the same point that Peyton Manning was at 28 as well. Now, the comeback for a lot of people who want to criticize Josh Allen is, hey, what about the interceptions? Well, of the top 6 passers in Buffalo Bills history, Josh Allen has the lowest interception percentage of any of them. So if you want to put it in the context of the Bills or the NFL, there's a lot of greatness of Josh Allen. He is not overrated.
And those facts right there and stats are going to quiet the idiots out there, right? So as Josh Allen does enter year 7 of his career, he's missing his top 2 receiving weapons. What kind of expectations do you have for him this season?
I have very high expectations for Josh Allen with this new receiving unit. I think it's worth noting that there is only one receiver on the Buffalo Bills who has ever caught a pass from Josh Allen. That is Khalil Shakir. Khalil Shakir also last season had more yards receiving in the final 10 games of the regular season on 40 fewer targets than Stefon Diggs did. And I know there's a lot of, well, Stefon Diggs is gone. Look, the Bills played 2 absolute must-win games last season against the Kansas City Chiefs. One at Arrowhead on December 10th, and then in the divisional playoff at Buffalo. Stefon Diggs did not have 25 yards receiving in either of those games. Gabe Davis, the other receiver who's gone this season by free agency to Jacksonville, he had 5 games last season where he did not have a catch. So when you look at the 241 targets that those 2 players got, roughly 44% of all throws that Josh Allen made last year, those are going to be distributed to Khalil Shakir, to Dalton Kincaid, their second-year tight end, to Curtis Samuel, perhaps to Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Chase Claypool. It's a new crew, but I think the fact that there isn't this onus on Josh Allen that he's got to get Steph Diggs his targets no matter what, I think it's going to free him to play a little differently, and I think he can be very productive with this new group of receivers.
Yeah, and Diggs let me down last season when I picked him for an anytime TD. Now, having said all of this, what would you say it would take for Allen to catch up to Mahomes' status?
You know, ultimately, I think it's playoff wins, and that is where the big gap is. Patrick Mahomes in his career in the playoffs is 15-3. Josh Allen is 5-5. Now, there are some people that will quibble and say, you know, wins should not be a quarterback stat. I mean, quarterbacks don't play special teams, they don't play defense, and certainly if you look, the Bills have not necessarily got the defensive performances that they would have liked in some of these games. Go back to last year's divisional playoff game against Kansas City. The Bills put up 24 points. They lost by 3. Every other team that put up 24 points on the Kansas City Chiefs last season won the game. The Bills were the only ones to lose it. And in fact, if you look at Josh Allen's playoff performance overall, for quarterbacks who have at least 20 touchdowns in the playoffs, Josh Allen, this is again the knock on him. Well, he's too reckless, can't win in the playoffs with him, makes too many mistakes. Josh Allen has the lowest interception percentage in the playoffs in NFL history for any quarterback with over 20 touchdown passes. So the notion that he's too reckless and you can't win in the playoffs with him, it just doesn't add up. You look at his playoff performance overall, Josh Allen's touchdown-interception ratio compares very comparably to Patrick Mahomes. Fewer games, smaller sample, but really they're right in line in that key stat as well.
He's the best in many areas, and Allen's 173 total TDs since 2020 are also easily the league's best. Dave, thanks so much for joining us.